Hi, everyone. Sean Waldman, Secure Cyber Defense, and welcome to episode 4 of the CS Cyber program. I'm Sean.
And I'm Chad.
And today is Rapid Fire Question Day. And basically, we're just going to go through various questions that have bubbled up through all kinds of means. And we're just going to rapid fire through them and just, go through a hodgepodge of questions.
Let's do it.
Are you ready? All right, Here we go. Question number 1, has the reality of constant cybersecurity attacks and related disruption led to a burnout or fatigue in the boardroom?
I sure hope not. They're just getting started.
Yeah, right. I know of some organizations that are on their second or third incident.
Yeah, I think the boardroom's going to start getting a lot more involved in cybersecurity. I mean, it's hitting the wallet, right? So they need to be engaged. They need to be aware. Probably more now than they ever have in the past. I mean, it's front and center with all of the right regulations, compliance. I mean, they're going to have to get involved.
Yeah, in episode 3, I talked about how I love the SEC so much and how they manage cyber risk. And I'm going to pick on them again because one of the things that they require is they require boards to be briefed every year on cybersecurity and cyber risk. And I really like that. And I think one of the other things that, a program that I've been working on through our nonprofit, the Go Cyber Collective, is a process where we can get more cyber education to the C-level.
Yeah, I think so. The board, I think, is kind of intrigued by cyber, right? I mean, it's out of their day-to-day. It's something that they're interested in. So, yeah, I think that's something that they actually want to learn more. I don't really see fatigue. I see them kind of getting more engaged, whether it be the board or the C-level or whatever.
The only place that I could see where fatigue becomes a thing potentially is maybe not having that cyber expertise on your board. So even if you don't have, and when we say board, that obviously I don't want to exclude local government. So that could be a city commission, right? That could be township trustees. I think it's important, maybe even at minimum, to create like a subcommittee or something, right? To maybe at least have some advisory to the board.
Right. I think that person really needs to kind of speak the language of the board. And I think that's historically been something that's been a challenge to the CISO. They're normally they've kind of grew up technical, right? So to make that switch and like, how does this affect the bottom line and the dollars and cents of a business? Like, that's where they need to be. Right?
Yep, absolutely. All right, question number 2. There was a Splunk report that indicated that 31% of CISOs have projects that have been delayed or eliminated due to a lack of funding. What advice would you provide them? And going forward, is it more about selecting the best cybersecurity solution for the available budget? And then what about the challenge of balancing value and ROI? It was like 3.
That was a lot of questions at once. So,
all right.
Canceled because of funding? Is that what you said?
Yeah. So they're reporting that a lot of their projects have been delayed or eliminated due to lack of funding. Let's just advise that. Let's advise on that one first.
So I would say, every organization has a finite amount of resources and money that they can throw at cybersecurity. I get asked the question quite a bit, like, how much should I be spending on cybersecurity? That's really tough. Like, I always say just enough, right? Like, right. I'm not going to spend $100 to protect $20, right? So really kind of understanding the value of your business and your data and your risk can kind of help you put a number on that and quantify that.
Yeah, so that was going to be my first thing I was going to say is I think people really need to understand who are listening to this, maybe you're a new CISO, is that cybersecurity is definitely a risk conversation, right? So when you evaluate your risk and your risk tolerance, right, you've got good guidance on, maybe where your program is supposed to be. And I think, one of the things that somebody may say, well, how do I get that? How do I get there? And, one of the things that you do professionally for secure cyber defense is your assessment program, right?
Right. So we go out and we talk to clients and we identify risk and you can kind of help them kind of internally like put a dollar value on that and determine like what path they want to go, right? So
yep,
we do that all the time.
Yeah, and I'll say a couple things just real quick that I've seen in the field is when the report says that some CISOs are reporting that some of their projects have been delayed or eliminated. My question is, did they put the right projects forward? So, I've seen a lot of CISOs and organizations, CIOs, putting the wrong projects forward, right? So we really have to take a step back as a CISO, and we have to say, am I presenting the need based on risk? Am I putting the correct projects in front, right? And then, the other thing that I've seen is just tool sprawl. And
That's a big one.
Yeah, it is big. And, just organizations, when we walk in, and when you walk in and do an assessment, there's like tools everywhere. And I just get the impression sometimes that maybe companies are just throwing, tools at problems,
Yeah, that's something that I think secure cyber defense has been kind of on the forefront of, right? I mean, we provide a platform of security. I think when I go into organizations, I see a lot where, there's different tool sets out there. There's a lot of overlap in those tool sets. None of the tool sets are really configured
correctly.
Appropriately. Yeah, I mean, like they're configured like for one thing, right?
Right.
Like where they have other functionality that could help, right? But it's hard to get this tool to talk to that tool if they're not designed to talk to one another and get something valuable out of that.
Correct.
So.
Okay. So let's move on to the next one just so we can keep going through questions. So what about cyber insurance? Oh boy. What value does it really offer a CISO?
So I think that one's tough, right? So cyber insurance, I think you should have it. It will normally pay out something to kind of cover some of your losses. But I think one of the things that we talk a lot about with cyber insurance is, you can't depend on them to get you back up and running. Like when you have a cyber incident, they come in, they may be your first or second call, right? They come in, they're looking in the rearview mirror. They're looking at what happened, gathering forensics, all in the context of, do we pay this policy or do we not pay this policy?
Right.
Right.
So what value does it really offer a CISO? So I've seen, in order to answer that question properly, I've seen a lot of CISOs use cyber insurance as a service that they're subscribing to. And that's 100% not what it is, right? Cyber insurance, just like any insurance, is designed to help you recover loss. And to your point, insurance companies are always looking in the rearview mirror, right? You need to be looking out the front windshield. So, first of all, you need cyber insurance. I would 100%, tell people do not go without it, right? But you also need to, look at your exclusions. And usually when I start talking about exclusions and I ask somebody, what does your policy say as far as exclusions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows.
No, it's complete silence because, that's one of the things, I think a lot of organizations just get those policies and they go, oh yeah, here's the premium. It's $7,000 a year. I've got a $2.5 million policy. So if I have an incident, I'm going to get a $2.5 million payout, right?
That's not the way it works.
No, that is not how it works. So it does bring value to a CISO. I think it helps supplement your program.
But it's not a safety net.
No, I wouldn't consider that. No, not at all.
No. I mean, it's there for loss. It's there for maybe your downtime that you're not making revenue or you've lost revenue or physical equipment has been damaged.
Yeah. I think about the wrong thing you could do too with cyber insurance is use that as a leverage point to go into a boardroom and tell the board how safe you are because of your cyber insurance policy.
No.
That's going to go wrong.
Yeah. Real quick. That's not good.
Nope, absolutely. All right, let's go. So back in 2022, it was reported, this is a good one, that there are still over 3 million security professional positions required across the globe. Security Week last week reported that there are 255,000 unfilled cybersecurity positions still in the United States. So based on that information, with the significant talent gap, can you and I talk about the benefit of importance of a security awareness training and development program and address any readiness and ongoing challenges?
So I think as far as a security awareness training program, right? Like I tell people this all the time, you're not going to get a bigger bang for your buck than awareness or, know before or training your workforce on what to do.
Yeah.
They're your biggest vulnerability. They're your biggest asset, right? So, and it helps them at home, right? Like everyone is online now. So just doing those things makes everyone like a little bit cyber ready.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And one of the big things, that we're doing here at Secure Cyber Defense through our nonprofit, the Go Cyber Collective, is we're standing up a physical cybersecurity education center in November. And because we've got to really address this issue, we need to work with organizations directly. So, folks need to go to these companies in their states. There's a lot of economic development being done in Ohio right now. And there's big companies like Intel and Joby Aviation, and there's Honda's building that battery plant up north. So there's a need, right? But we need to be better in touch with those organizations, some of the larger ones that need that, so that we can get like kind of a consensus of locally what is the gap, so that we can work better with academia. We can work with local colleges like Sinclair and Wright State and UD. And University of Cincinnati is certainly, we've got a ton of resources in this region alone in Southwest Ohio to help address that. So the awareness training piece, I do want to speak to that because when you talk about security awareness training, and you hit on a couple key vendors there, and CyWareness is the one that Secure Cyber Defense uses, I think I get a lot of questions sometimes with where should the money go? Right. So where should I really be putting my money? And if I was a CISO in today's climate, when you're talking about deep fakes and some of the stuff, the nasty stuff that's out there, I would be spending money to educate my users.
Absolutely. You're not going to get a bigger bang for your buck. I mean, and it's got to be more than the once a year 45-minute training. Like it's really got to be continuous. They're getting hit with phishing emails every day. They're downloading things every day. Like, they really need to kind of know what to be on the lookout for.
And I think what this is saying too is we've got a skills gap issue, right? So look at training your employees as a force multiplier, right? I think that this is where this is going. So if you're having a hard time finding those security professionals, if you've got budget constraints, one of the cheapest things you could do is invest in a training program. And like you say, taking it way beyond just doing the once a year video, right? And then phishing.
That doesn't really work, I don't think.
No, it doesn't. And so many of these platforms like CyWareness have such a great capability of providing more videos, more, minute training. A lot of these platforms also have the ability for you to load your own training. So we're sitting inside a beautiful studio, right? That we could produce training, and it's not hard for any organization to get a camera and a microphone and a light, right? And just hit record. Heck, you could use an iPhone. So I really think that sometimes that gets overlooked as a very economical way, and it's high impact.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just so important. I can't hit on that enough. I mean, what they learn is going to protect your business, and it's going to protect them at home too. So everyone's doing online baking, right? So
no, absolutely. All right. Well, I think that's it for today. And so I want to thank everybody for joining us. This was our rapid fire program. I'm Sean.
I'm Chad.
And this was the CS Cyber program. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.